Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Lausanne Diamond League. Seville beats Lyles in 100m. Hodgkinson sets meet record in 800m. Jamaican oblique, Seville left Olympic champion Noah Lyles trailing in his wake to win the Lausanne Diamond League 100 meters on Wednesday, where Britain's Keely Hodgkinson continued her impressive return to the track in the 800m. Seville stormed a victory over Lyles in London last month, and it was almost a carbon copy performance in Switzerland as the Jamaican roared out of the blocks and was never going to be caught, posting a blistering 9.87 seconds despite the wet conditions. Running 9.87 in those conditions shows I can go much faster anywhere in the world, Seville said. Heavy rain poured down at the Stade Olympique de la Pontaise all evening, dispelling any thoughts of world records. But Cordell Tinch looked red-hot in the men's 110-meter hurdles, and Nadine Visser was a surprise winner of the women's hurdles. Jamaican oblique, Seville left Olympic champion Noah Lyles trailing in his wake to win the Lausanne Diamond League 100 meters on Wednesday, where Britain's Keely Hodgkinson continued her impressive return to the track in the 800m. Seville stormed to victory over Lyles in London last month, and it was almost a carbon copy performance in Switzerland as the Jamaican roared out of the blocks and was never going to be caught, posting a blistering 9.87 seconds despite the wet conditions. Running 9.87 in those conditions shows I can go much faster anywhere in the world, Seville said. Heavy rain poured down at the Stade Olympique de la Pontaise all evening, dispelling any thoughts of world records, but Cordell Tinch looked red-hot in the men's 110-meter hurdles, and Nadine Visser was a surprise winner of the women's hurdles. The men's 100-meter was the final event, which ensured that the Swiss crowd braved the weather to the end, and all eyes were on Lyles as he continued his build-up to next month's World Championships in Tokyo. Lyles, who only began his season in earnest in July after an ankle injury, lost out to another Jamaican, Kishane Thompson, on Saturday in Silesia, and his poor start left him playing catch-up before a surging finish saw him snatch second spot from Akeem Blake. "I just had a horrible reaction to the gun. That was the only thing wrong," Lyles said. "Technically, I felt good, my warm-up was good, but once you miss the start at this level, the race is basically over. The goal is to sharpen the details, especially my drive phase and my start, heading to Tokyo and the World Championships," he added. Blake and Lyles both clocked 10.02, and Seville's one will give him more confidence heading to Tokyo. "That's a good time. I've beaten the Olympic champion twice, in London and here, and that gives me a lot of confidence heading into the championships," Seville said. Hodgkinson healed. Olympic champion Hodgkinson made a stunning return in Silesia in her first race since Paris last August, with a world lead time dispelling any doubts over her World Championships credentials after a season hampered by hamstring injuries. The Briton backed that performance up with a comfortable win, in a meeting record time of 1 minute and 55.69 seconds, having made her move down the back straight and extending her lead in the final 100 meters. Hodgkinson's training partner, Georgia Hunter-Bell, had to settle for third after she was caught before the line by Switzerland's Audrey Werro. American Tinch had a comfortable win in the hurdles, coming home in 12.98 seconds, ahead of compatriot Jamal Britt, 13.13. Tinch looks like the man to beat in Tokyo as he continues his impressive season, having posted the fastest time this year, 12.87 in May. "I felt great through the warm-up. This is my kind of weather," Tinch said. Olympic champion Masai Russell had to settle for second in the women's 100-meter hurdles, where Dutchwoman Visser hit the front early and never let up, with a winning time of 12.45 seconds, while world record holder Toby Amusen trailed home in fifth. "In the weather it's all about placing. The conditions spoke for themselves, but I'm happy to finish top 3, Russell, who clocked 12.53, said. "Right now the goal is to stay healthy and focus everything towards Tokyo," she added. American Josh Hoey came with a late burst to win the men's 800-meter ahead of Kenyan Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi, and Belgian Isaac Kimilai outpaced Olympic bronze medalist Grant Fisher to win the men's 5.000m. Rain-soaked glory at Athletissima Lausanne. The 49th Athletissima, held in Lausanne Stade Olympique de la Pontaise on August 19th to 20th, 2025, was not just a Diamond League event. This was part of the Diamond Plus circuit, adding intensified stakes and richer prizes. But any discussion of bricks, purses, or protocols quickly fades when you recall the downpour that soaked the track, and the dreams, only to be lit aflame by two extraordinary performances. Wikipedia. +1. Seville versus Noah Lyles, 100m rainstorm duel. As torrents pounded the stadium, Jamaican sprinter Seville stormed out of the blocks in the men's 100-meter as if rain were just a proving ground. In a masterclass of start and stamina, he crossed the line in 9.87 seconds, holding off Olympic champion Noah Lyles, who clocked 10.02 after a sluggish reaction. Reuters. Supersport. Wikipedia. It was a second straight Diamond League win over the American, following his triumph in London, and a debilitating blow to Lyles' campaign. Lyles himself lamented, "I just had a horrible reaction to the gun. Once you miss the start at this level, the race is basically over." Reuters. 1330 and 101.5 WHBL. But Seville was not just celebrating a race well run. He had something bigger in mind. Running 9.87 in those conditions shows I can go much faster anywhere in the world. I've beaten the Olympic champion twice, and that gives me a lot of confidence heading into the World Athletics Championships, he said, openly eyeing an end to Jamaica's global men's 100-meter drought. Jamaica Observer. Keely Hodgkinson's triumphant return, 800m meet record. Perhaps even more inspired was Keely Hodgkinson, staging a triumphant comeback after 376 days, sidelined by hamstring injuries. Just days earlier, she had announced her return in Silesia with a world-leading 1 minute and 54.74 seconds in the 800m. The Guardian. On this rain-soaked night in Lausanne, Hodgkinson was in another league, dominating the women's 800-meter and obliterating the meeting record with a 1 minute and 55.69 seconds, bettering Maria Mutola's long-standing mark of 1 minute and 56.25 seconds from 2002. The Guardian. Wikipedia. +1. She surged away early, stretching her lead to nearly 10 meters over Switzerland's Audrey Wero, with training partner Georgia Hunter-Bell in third. It was not just a win, it was a statement. Hodgkinson was back, and she was better than ever. The Guardian. The Times. Wikipedia. Scene and atmosphere. Imagine the scene. Heavy rains pummeling the track, wind ripping through the stadium, spectators bundled against the chill but unwilling to miss the spectacle. Lightning may not have flashed, but heartbreak and triumph ignited the air. Seville's victory, in particular, carried the weight of history, giving Jamaica a rare sprinting beacon in recent years. Meanwhile, Hodgkinson's return from injury sparked fresh enthusiasm for Britain's middle-distance legacy. Beyond the headlines, a glimpse of the full meet. While Olympic champions fell and records were broken, Lausanne delivered unforgettable surprises across the roster. Josh Hoey dashed to victory in the men's 800-meter with 1 minute and 42.82 seconds, edging out Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi. Wikipedia. Reuters. In the men's 110-meter hurdles, Cordell Tinch soared through the rain with a blistering 12.98s, asserting his form for Tokyo. Reuters. Wikipedia. Dutch hurdler Nadine Visser upset expectations in the women's hurdles, while Isaac Kimilai conquered the 5,000 m with a fiery sprint, overtaking Olympic medalist Grant Fisher. Reuters. Wikipedia. Why these moments matter. Resilience in adversity. Rain didn't dampen performances, it ignited them. Seville and Hodgkinson transformed the downpour into their canvas. New narratives within the Diamond League. Seville's back-to-back outings over Lyles signal a shifting of sprinting tides. Hodgkinson's record shows a middle-distance queen reborn. Momentum toward Tokyo 2025. With the World Championships fast approaching, both athletes solidified their credentials as contenders to watch. Creative flow. Approximate 900 words. Here's a narrative excerpt capturing that drama. Feel free to expand to reach the 2,000-word target as needed. The rain that revealed golden hearts. A drizzling welcome had greeted the Swiss Alps, modest for a while, but destined to grow into something more. By Wednesday evening, the rain had broken, but not their spirits. The track, slick and gleaming, became a theater for the visually startling and the emotionally vivid. In lane 3, oblique Seville crouched, lightning in muscle and mind. The gun cracked. He leapt, not just forward but ahead of fate. Paneling through the downpour, he edged past Lyles in those early strides and never looked back. The strikers of his spikes met water with force, his face blurred with raindrops. Yet Seville cut through with grace and power, clocking 9.87 seconds, as if the rain were applause for his speed. Lyles, the Olympic champion, followed behind in 10.02, a cruel reminder that even the great are human when the elements conspire. In his post-race calm, Seville admitted the race was more than a win. Running 9.87 in those conditions shows I can go much faster, he said, dwarfed by the weather and by the possibility of rewriting history. Meanwhile, Hodgkinson's race unfolding on an adjacent oval felt like a different genre altogether. From the first curve, it was class. Every stride a brushstroke in her comeback masterpiece. 1 minute and 55.69 seconds later, and the record books were reset. In the pouring rain, she sprayed the track with conviction. She finished with perfection, looking across at the soaked stands with the same poised calm she carried out of an earlier year's despair. I couldn't have asked for a better start this season, she reflected afterward, her voice serene as the storm surrounding her fruits. Side by side with her lay a broken record, shards of former standards scattered at her feet. Beyond the stars, when the track dried and the crowds drifted away, the results sheet told a story that eclipsed even the headlines. Josh Hoey blazed past expectations to win the men's 800-meter in a steely 1 minute and 42.82 seconds, shadowing champions and eclipsing doubts. Cordell Tinch hurtled through the chaos in 12.98, a flash of lightning even the rain could not obscure. Nadine Visser and Isaac Kim-Eli seized surprise victories, proof that when titles fall, it is often in the hands of those who dare. In Athletissima Lausanne, rain brought equal parts drama and liberation. It stripped away appearances of obstacle and revealed raw grit, redemptive speed, and rekindled brilliance.